Today's video is sponsored by minerpool.pro. Out with the old, in with the new. Minerpool.org is now minerpool.pro. With the new name comes a new mining pool. Minerpool.pro is excited to announce the launch of their brand new pool for Meowcoin. With Stratum support for Asia, Europe, US East, and finally US West servers. Finally, we can't forget about the new loyalty program by minerpool.pro to earn additional Meowcoin for your uptime. Go check out minerpool.pro's new Meowcoin pool today. What is going on, miners, and welcome back to the Hobbyist Miner channel. Well, we are at it again with one of your favorite segments on the Hobbyist Miner channel, and it is Meet the Miner. And this guy right here has been in high demand, many comments asking for him. I'd like to introduce Space Design Warehouse. Thank you for joining me.
Hello.
Hello. So those of you guys, if you're not familiar with him, I really recommend that you guys go over to his channel. I'll have links down below, a card in the upper right hand corner. Check out his channel, and his channel is unique. And we were talking about this previously before we started recording. I mean, I even started to take notes. I went back on some of your older videos. This guy has stuff on cameras, on technology, on passive income, investments, drones, candy dispenser, guides, microvision, mountain bikes, ASICs, you name it, it's over there. But what makes his channel unique, and I encourage you guys to go check it out, is it's very DIY. When you go over there, you learn something and you're shown the process, and it's a ton of fun. And that's actually how I found your channel. So we'll talk about that a little bit, but we're going to learn a little bit about you. So are you ready to dive into a little Q&A?
Absolutely. Ask me anything.
Ask me anything. Uh-oh, he said it here. So, okay.
I'm actually right this moment.
Yep. Give it. What do you got? Show it to me.
I almost dropped it. I've got
he's got it.
Of an S19 pulled apart right now because I was digging through this thing.
That is awesome. So we're going to ask our first question here. So what came first for you? Content creation or crypto mining? Which one was first for you?
Content creation. I'm actually a professional photographer before anything else. I shoot race cars for IMSA.
Wow. You know what? It makes total sense, because one of my questions on here, which I'm so glad you brought it up, was like, your content production quality is next level. Like, you got guys like me that like pick up a camera and go around and shoot it vlog style. And then you come across your channel and your content. And so that was actually going to be one of the questions. So why don't you kind of give us a little bit of a rundown? You know, what's your background? Because it seems to be very DIY, but then also on the entertainment side and like editing side and things like that.
I do want to say that your channel has been looking prettier and prettier all year long.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Andy from Your Friend Andy YouTube channel, we're going to do a thing where we go around to the different crypto YouTubers that we know and like fix their setup, because everybody's kind of bad with the camera but good with the information. Yep. But you're looking great now. My original background, I went to college. Well, the third time I went to college was for mechanical engineering. Okay. So I'm an engineer before I'm a performer. Well, that's not true. When I was a teenager, I was in a band, so I'm a drummer actually. Okay. And so I have like stage experience, I guess, and looking at a camera experience without freaking out. And so, like so many other people, pandemic came and I had nothing to do. My wife kept working, so she had plenty of money, and I was I had this big empty warehouse, like literally just like a playpen. Because this company that I work for, which is called Space Design and Production, believe it or not, the company's out of New York, but I live in Orlando, Florida, and I am the keeper of the warehouse. We have these like large truss and lighting systems. Okay. So I do like lighting diagrams and lighting for these big art fair productions. That's my that was my career, my main job or whatever.
It makes sense because your lighting is always top notch. Like, it's always like, look at this, look at this, look at this picture. It looks amazing.
I am glowing blue right now.
That's
actually I'm looking over at my monitor, and my face is looking a little yellow compared to yours, and I think my white balance is on the wrong setting.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. So you definitely have a background in production and in the entertainment side of things. It definitely shows. I mean, you got a great personality and things like that. So when did you get into crypto, and what triggered you to take that step in your journey?
So I was into crypto a little bit, like a long time ago. Well, actually, God, the saddest story. And I think everybody, well, not everybody, but every time I talk to somebody about this, they have some version of this story. But I installed Bitcoin mining software in like 2011 on an old computer.
Okay.
And like, it was literally so confusing and so hard to set up. And I didn't get it running like that night. And then something else took my attention away. And then I never went back to it. So like the software sat there and I could have been making like 10 Bitcoins a day for 3 years or however long it was.
And then and then you could have lost your USB drive and then you would have had the perfect story, right?
Well, and the odds are, like in reality, when I saw it go to like 100, I would have sold. I never would have held up to 60,000 when it was worth like 0.01 cents or whatever. So whatever, but I was into the idea of all that. And then in like 2016, I bought Bitcoin again and I saw it go up to like $500 and I was like, oh, I'm selling. I'm a genius. I've doubled my money.
I'm out.
And so I dabbled here and there, but I didn't like get way into all of the bits and like actually buying machines and taking them apart and stuff until 2 years ago, I guess. I built my first GPU rig because I saw a 𝐷𝐷𝐻𝐸 video because he was doing passive income stuff.
Yeah.
And I've been working for myself like forever, pretty much. I was in the Army for a little bit from 2003 to 2006. Actually, I was a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne. How about that?
Wow. Good for you. Thank you. That's awesome.
That was my only real job. Other than that, I was a massage therapist for a while. I owned a pedicab company downtown Orlando, and I had like a whole fleet where I would rent out pedicabs to people and they would bike people around the city for money. And I've just always like had some hustle. I have a t-shirt printing company that I pretty much has gone dormant since the pandemic. I own a marathon. It's called Masters of All Terrain. If you care to look it up, but the website might be gone because we haven't done one since 2020.
That's crazy.
But I've just always been entrepreneurial. So that's what I thought my YouTube channel was going to be about. It's just the crypto videos circa 2001 started doing so well that I focused on that.
That's incredible. Yeah, it seems like you... And it's really funny. You say all these things and it lines up with like your YouTube content. Like if you guys go over to his channel, go to his oldest videos and then start to go through them. And it's like someone's creative mind just exploded on YouTube and like every other video is coming out with all these things, and then you could definitely see where your interest in crypto hit because now you're starting to do like a lot of videos and stuff like that in there. Was there somebody that kind of nudged you in that direction to be like, get into crypto 2 years ago, now's the time, or it's making a bunch of money? Like, what was that nudge 2 years ago?
I had a GPU in a Windows computer because I like playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and that's a really that's a game that takes a lot of GPU power.
Yep.
And so I turned that one GPU on, and I was like, and at that time that was like peak Ethereum mining. So I think I was making with one GPU, I was making like $30 a day or whatever it was. Crazy. And I was like, oh God, okay, well, I'm buying 20 of these right now. And so I sold a bunch of stuff, and I think I even used some credit cards, and I bought a whole bunch of 3080s. And then I bought a bunch of motherboards, not knowing how to put computers together, and I just started like figuring it all out.
Okay.
And what a heyday. Although I think the most expensive one that I bought was like $2,200 for a single GPU. Because it was at like the tippity top of that whole stupid pyramid. Yeah. It did pay itself off because I think I had them running for like a year and a half until this all happened now.
Yeah. Well, that's a perfect segue into my next questions here. So let's talk about your mining farm. You know, let's build your roster here. You talked about some 3080 stuff like that. What do you still have today in-house? And then we can also talk a little bit about your hosting experience. So what do you currently have? ASICs, GPU, what do you got? Give us the rundown.
So right now that I haven't gotten rid of, I still have 5 3080s. Okay. One of them is literally just like, it's in my virtual reality room that I built in the warehouse. So that I have a room that's just a virtual reality helmet hanging from the ceiling and a 3080 on a little tiny motherboard.
Okay.
I have another one that sits in my hurricane room that's overlooking my ASIC miners, which are now shut off because my electrical power is 14 cents per kilowatt hour and they actually lose money to run.
Yep.
And then I have, I think actually,
he's like, I got a few more just sitting here.
Here's one that's just sitting on the stupid table because I need to redo the pads before I sell it.
Yep.
If anybody wants a 3080, it's going to be fresh on the market, all patched up, ready to go.
Awesome.
But
so then
I have 3 more of those. And then so I have, what do I have? I have 8 S19J Pros.
Okay.
2 of them are at the warehouse. I just use them to disassemble or to test out products that people sell me. Because you and I both have done I think you did the J Fruits and Associates trial.
I did. Yep, I did that one. That's the one that's actually current existence. I just dropped a video today. If you guys are, this is being recorded on the 28th. Yeah, it has been in use for the last week, and it has been running amazing, and it's fully external air. It doesn't touch any internal air. It's got a full intake and exhaust system and a full filter box system I ran with it, and it's been awesome. It was a huge
I'm actually
win.
flying up to Minnesota next week, so I can go put a bunch of those in a basement up there where it's already wintertime, and I'm going to heat my brother's house. He lives in this really old house from the 1800s on the side of a lake that's just cold. And I'm going to put a couple of those and pipe the heat.
Yeah, the one thing I have to figure out on mine is, you know, because I have mine in a shed, and from one side of the shed to the other is like 8 feet. So the one thing I have to figure out, which a lot of people have recommended, one of the farms I actually toured recently recommended it too, is taking some of the hot air and piping it back into the intake side. So when it's
because you live in a cold place, so it can't you can't shoot 10-degree air into that thing.
Exactly. When it's snowing outside and it's, you know, 5 degrees outside or 10 degrees outside, what does that do to the ASIC? And so everybody is recommending just take a little bit, like even a 2-inch pipe off of your exhaust and go right back into, and my filter box is like my point of origin coming in, and it's like let it mix in there so that by the time it hits the ASIC, it's at, you know, let's say it bumps it to 30 degrees, perfect, like 30 degrees Fahrenheit or something.
Well, there's a few ways to do that. You could actually keep that room comfortable.
Yep.
You could just have an intake that doesn't connect straight from outside to your miner.
Yes.
But then the exhaust from your miner does go straight to outside, so it creates a vacuum, and it'll pull cold air into the room, but not directly into the miner.
Correct.
Then the whole room will mix it around.
Yeah, some people had recommended like capping my intake and then just lifting the lid off my filter box. The filter box is sitting in the shed with all my other GPU miners in a better scenario, and then just allowing it to suck from inside the shed. I just want to make sure I don't create too much negative pressure where then that happens. So yeah, it's fun though. I love this stuff, like this DIY stuff. I love it. It's so much fun, and that's why that's how you and I got connected.
It's unfortunate that I live in Orlando because we just don't have winter, and so I don't get to like make use of the heat of these things. I'm going to be telling people all day long, like, look, you can, even if you lose money on them, it's all right because it's a free furnace. You don't have to pay for.
Yeah, definitely, and it's really funny.
I was looking forward because.
Go ahead.
Oh, I have a mining shed too. I just don't use it anymore out in the backyard. And it'd be I wanted to play with like greenhouse technology where the windows automatically open at a certain temperature and blast out the air and then close at a certain temperature, just to like have more robotic things doing things.
Because that's just cool, and everybody wants that. So I totally understand.
Yeah.
Which is actually really funny.
You still running your GPUs?
Oh yeah. The whole farm's up and running right now. It was off for like 2 days when I was like, oh my gosh, my electric bill is 10 cents now, and I got $1,000 bills. I can't do it. And then when I swapped over to my 5 cents, I was like, everything's on again. So yeah, I have all but maybe 20 GPUs, and I have a mining room in my basement that has 8 inline fans in this basement room that I built. It's my quote hurricane room, but it's underground in my basement. And
8 inline. What do you need all those fans for?
So I have 8 inline fans, and let's see, 4. So I have 4 intakes that pull air from outside in at floor level, and then I have 8 that suck out the air at the top. So it's pretty much just circulating the air. And then the GPUs I could put in there. So the max GPUs I did in there was 90 GPUs in that room. And it's able to
generation?
Keep they would be the 10 and the 20 series. I didn't have any 30 series GPUs yet. So that room right now is actually being used. I have a few GPUs in there, a few servers, a few project stuff, but the rest of it is out in the shed. And but that's how you and I got connected. That's how I found your channel, was literally your Shroud video, with your Fruits and Associates, your first one that you did, I think.
Oh, that's pretty recent.
Or it was the cryptology, the cryptology consulting.
Oh yeah,
box
I saw you do the cryptology consulting box too.
Yep, I did that one too. That one did not work out very well. Mine overheated pretty quick.
Yeah, super nice guy. Happy. That thing needs a redesign.
Yes, 100%. But yeah, the Fruits and Associate one was literally like a huge W. And I've been super happy with that one. And I have the one now that feeds into the power supply as well. So it's not just.
Yeah, I have that in a box. I haven't unboxed it yet.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I have 2 videos. My first video is installing that and my game plan. And then my second video is actually a week later and how it's run and stuff like that. So I'll shoot you links over that.
Well, I'm happy to take credit for the genesis of that idea.
Yes.
I really pushed those guys to try to design that thing. And they were having a lot of like they had to redo it a million times to get the little fins inside to do the right thing.
Yep. You'll enjoy. I love the style of video, but I'll put a link. I'll put a picture up as the thumbnail I did. If you check the Discord right now, look at the Discord right now. That's my thumbnail for that video of the Fruit and Associates with the inline fan on the front. I call it the Bitcoin cannon is what I called it, and I love that.
Actually when I was going through thumbnails for the original one of those, there was one where I was like holding it like a machine gun.
Were you really? Oh, that's such a great idea. So we'll continue. That was fun. That was a fun rabbit hole to go down, and I love it. That's the fun part about this kind of segment here. So you talked about that you have 8 S19J Pros, which it must pain you right now to see like the prices of those versus what you paid like forever ago.
Oh God. Oh man. The first 2 I bought, I think I paid $11,000 for each one of them. And that was direct from China. So I was getting them for the cheapest price you could get, because China prices now are even lower than what you would buy them from wherever you buy them from now. Yeah. But it's just so dangerous to buy it from China. Yeah. And then I don't even know what the cheapest one I bought. Well, I guess the cheapest one was probably a demo unit that I got from my sponsors. So that's $0. But I hate and love seeing the prices of them now. And I wonder, they have the prices fell but stopped falling, and the price of Bitcoin kept going down. So I think they hit a ASIC price floor that they're not willing to go below. Yeah,
I mean, I've seen used ones now, like from some of these bigger companies that are liquidating. The best I've seen for the S19J Pro is $1,900, is what I've seen. For pre-owned, not brand new.
Pre-owned, and I think that I think pre-owned and new is exactly the same. I think these things will become irrelevant before they actually stop working.
Yeah, because no, I totally agree. But you had talked about you have some hosted. So talk about that. From the consumer side, you're hosting some of your miners. What's the benefit to you of that, and then also what's the downside?
Well, benefit is money. Everything that is, all these choices are based on money. God, the margins are so funny too, because like just a penny per kilowatt hour of electricity makes an enormous difference over like a year or whatever. Yeah. But it all started for me because I was because I got real scared sending Ethereum off to China to get miners, especially because the last time I bought from China, they were like just about to do the ban where they weren't allowed to sell them anymore. And I was buying it off of an Alibaba reseller. So I was feeling safe because they have trade assurance or whatever. But that was all going away. So I was going to have to just trust this woman on Telegram. Here you go. Here's $11,000. Send me some more equipment that you would like. There's no way to track her down. So I wanted to find a reseller in America, did lots of looking around, found a new company. I actually drove across the country. I made a video about this too. I drove all the way up to North Dakota I drove to Minnesota from Florida, met with these guys in person, had dinner with them. We like handed off machines literally by hand. That's very cool. Gained trust with them or whatever. And then soon after that, they started doing a hosting thing. My God, the first couple of months that I was running everything, I didn't even realize, because I was like, I'm not selling any Bitcoin to pay for electricity. I'm just going to pay the electricity and just hold everything because I know it's going to go up later. This was when Bitcoin was like at 50,000 when I was first mining, unfortunately. Should have sold some of that. Just totally lost my train of thought.
No, so you were talking about.
I wasn't paying attention to my electrical cost, and then I actually dug into my bill. I thought that I was paying 8 cents a kilowatt hour, which was reasonable, below the national average, was fine. But then I look at the surcharge and the delivery charge and the tax, and then there's like the connection fee because my warehouse is commercial. Everything I do is at I have a warehouse. Yep. And so it actually worked out to like 14.5 cents per kilowatt hour. And my electric bill, after I had all of them running, I had like 6 of them running, and I had a couple of L3 pluses. I have 3 L3 pluses in my kit. I didn't finish doing the rundown, and an S9, and had all of that running, and my electric bill was like $5,000. And I was like, ooh. Oh. So I did sell a little bit of Bitcoin, pay off that last electric bill, and I was like, well, shit, I guess I'm going to. What a great video idea. I drove out to Texas and I brought all my miners out to they have a flare gas mining remote hosting facility in Texas, and I had them all running there. So I have a promotional rate, which is good because they are my channel sponsor now too. They sponsor all my videos.
You can say their name. You can absolutely say their name. Feel free to advertise that.
Musk Miner. Do you do anything with Musk Miner?
I haven't yet. I'm interested in doing it. We've had that. I've reached out to them. They're interested in working with me. I am working right now with Wadham. And so I've worked with Wadham a decent amount. So I kind of want to finish up my contract with Wadham and then explore. And I just hate to go down other avenues, especially with that. But Musk Miners.
In that case, reach out to Musk Miners, all of you, the public, and say Space Design Warehouse sent you, so I can get a little bit of credit, because they do give me a little bump every time they sell a machine through I have a Discord too, but I'm not gonna. That takes a really crazy link to get to or whatever. Anyway, so my reason for all of that hosting and everything is that you get hosting for 8 cents a kilowatt hour straight, no like fee, no monthly fee, no other fee, no setup fee, just 8 cents per kilowatt hour, or 8.5 cents per kilowatt hour, whatever it is. It's way cheaper than I get at home. So even though I'm just barely making it, well, the price went up a little bit, but at 19,000, you need at 9 cents a kilowatt hour, you break even. So I'm just like pretty much buying Bitcoin by mining.
Yep.
But at least it's no KYC that way, so it's all.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's the way to go. And I thought I saw, I'm not sure where it's at now, but I thought I saw today we just hit 20,800, which is awesome. Like, let's keep that momentum going, which is, I think, really good. So you had talked about flare gas, which is new to like the mining scene. Give us a breakdown of exactly how that works, because I think a lot of us, when we hear alternative options for mining, we hear like hydroelectric or wind or solar.
Yeah.
Give us
there was that guy that like bought an old decommissioned hydro mine and just turned it back on, and he mines for free. That's pretty awesome.
Yep.
Flare gas mining is great. It's actually, it checks a bunch of boxes. Whether or not you care about this, if you're watching this, a lot of people do, a lot of people don't, but Bitcoin gets a terrible rap because you use a lot of electricity, and that's like using a lot of power, and that's burning a lot of fossil fuels. Flare gas is this weird thing that once you look into it, I can't believe it's allowed. But when they extract oil from the ground, you also bring up a bunch of like dirty gases. You bring up a bunch of natural gas that you can't use because all those places are so remote, they don't have a pipeline to it. So they just burn it off. They just set a fire up and they just burn this flame that goes literally forever, all the time. And there's like thousands of these around the country. It
reminds me of like a pilot light. It's just like a pilot light that's always on, and it's just like burning.
It's like a pilot light, but it's a pilot light that burns at 15 feet tall, and it's like just burning this obscene amount of gas into the air.
It's crazy.
So instead, what these enterprising young hosting companies are doing is you just hook up to that pipe. Instead of starting on a fire, you pipe it over to a generator. You run it through a generator, which burns the gas more completely, so cleaner than just burning it into the air. And then with that free power that you've just extracted, you just run a container, like a steel shipping container with special ventilation, run a bunch of Bitcoin miners. Genius. And so it doesn't add any carbon to the air, because that gas is going to burn. There is no one that's ever going to stop the oil companies from pumping gas. And so that gas is going to be burning. So at least we get to have it do one more thing on its way out, and it does burn a little bit cleaner. So it's technically carbon neutral and a little bit carbon negative to run them that way. So that's awesome. Also, those companies get, I don't know their like agreements that they have, but they have super cheap power, because in reality it's free power. So they make a deal to pay like whatever, some pennies per kilowatt hour.
I imagine they negotiate in some type of like leasing with like their units on that lot where that's at. I assume they bring that in, and then on top of that, trying to, is there some way they could get some certification or incentive with the state for it's not burning it? It's just like, I feel like it is like a genius avenue to be like, let's take something that is going to continue to exist, that no one's going to fight over, and be like, hey, I can utilize that. And that's electricity right there. Like, that is like the guys. Now, are the guys with Musk Miners, are they are they like the only guys that do this or came up with this? Or was this already like something that existed that...
Yeah, so when we got there, there's like 3 other companies on the same site. Like it's one of my other channel sponsors, or I guess future channel sponsors. We've had some meetings, but Upstream Data is they make these things called hash huts, and they like provide those all day long. They have a factory running that just makes these hash huts. So this is a pretty common thing. Or I guess it's probably spreading really fast right now. It's probably contributing to the difficulty rise, which is a bummer.
Yep. Yep. No, that's great. Yeah, I have seen the Upstream stuff. I love some of their boxes. I think you have one of their like black boxes for like their soundproofing. Yep. I saw that video that you have on that. I saw that video after like the cryptology consulting one, and I was like, oh, that one is like. Yep. And I followed their project with that for a while now. That's really, really nice. From what I've seen.
Yeah, I ran into those guys at Bitcoin 2022 conference. That was pretty cool. That box is black magic because the airflow has to be unrestricted, but and somehow the noise is restricted through the magic of like bouncing sound waves and making them break up.
Yeah, it's really genius. Some of these things are like some of the innovation that you're seeing that's coming out is next level. And it's very cool to see that like that's the direction things are going. It's like, all right, how do we already utilize these? You know, I love to see something like that in the same scenario of like those those huts being able to be attached to like hydroelectric dams with like turbines and stuff like that, like just utilizing some of these things, which would be pretty cool. So yeah, at some point I'm going to chat with those guys more, and that's the type of stuff that I want to get into. So you have this hurricane room. Give me this download of this hurricane room. So what was it originally set up for? What did you end up using?
Oh no, I built it. I built it just.
I know. So give us the rundown.
Well, in the back of my warehouse. So once again, I have this warehouse that nobody else has keys to. Like, what?
It's a fun factory. Let's be honest here, folks. It's a fun factory.
I got a fun factory. I just changed my brakes in my truck in there. It's just great. It's this 4,000 square foot room that has no daily use. Like, it just stores stuff, and I can move all that stuff out of the way and stack it up. And so when I started Bitcoin mining, unfortunately, the warehouse only has 100 amps at 240 volts. And so it's not like I capped the power. I hit the top of the power right away.
Yeah.
But everything gets hot, as you no doubt found out this summer, and I saw you having quite a bit of troubles with. The hurricane room, I'm an engineer, so I like to play with like trying to get, like you were saying with the negative pressure, trying to get everything just right, trying to optimize for no reason, because these things are really hardy. They will run no matter what.
Yep.
But I got it to where in 100 to 110 degree day, my Bitcoin miners could run overclocked in the air because they just had so much air going through there. So I got this, I had a steel door in the back of my warehouse. I put that aside, bought a new steel door so that I didn't have to replace it when I move out. Cut a big hole in that new steel door, put a giant exhaust fan in there that moves like, I don't know, 10,000 CFM. I don't remember the number.
I bet you it's even higher. I bet you it's like 20,000 or something crazy like that.
When you stand in there, your hair blows sideways. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, now nothing happening in there.
What did you do for your intake in that room? What was your passive
intake? Or what was the intake? I just cut giant holes. So I just used like HVAC filters, like the big 24 by 24 HVAC filters, and put 4 of them in a row, and then just cut that big square out of the front wall of the room. And so there was like.
So did that pull from your warehouse? So the intake pulling from your warehouse, or to pull from outside?
Yeah, so it pulled from the interior of the warehouse.
Okay.
So it was only filtered in the hurricane room. So my dirty warehouse air would make those filters dirty in like a week. I'd just change them every week, but they're like $1, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And I would keep my roll-up doors. I could lock them like an inch off the ground. So I had these I have like 32 feet of doors. And so there was enough space to like keep air sucking through there without anything. But if anybody ever walked around, because I have a backyard too, if anybody ever walked around the backyard and just saw like these fins and this giant fan just blowing like a lot of heat out, because what is that? It's like 15,000 watts of heat just blowing out of this building forever. It's pretty incredible. But yeah, so I just had a really big opening in the front of the room, a super powerful fan in the back of the room, and then I built all of these little tunnels. If you ever saw the video about it, I didn't have the tunnels made yet, but I like forced the air to only go through the miners and then back out the outside. So there was like a cold side to it and a hot side to it. And if you stood on the hot side of that room, I mean, it was like diving into a hot tub. It was just so hot out the back of those miners. But everything, I never had a problem with those things. They just ran forever.
So one of the things on your channel you do, as I said, it's all DIY, is immersion cooling. Tell us how that went for you, because what a mess. So tell us how that went for you. Was, I love your, as I said, DIY. So like I watch your channel and it's not like you're buying this massive kit and then it's all done for you. You are very much doing this yourself. Give us the rundown. What did you do?
I made a lot of mistakes. I had never worked with, well, first of all, PVC, no good. You have to have CPVC if you're going to be doing BitCool. You can use ElectroCool with CPVC or with PVC because it won't eat it up or whatever. But that jug, a jug of ElectroCool is like $200 for 5 gallons, and you need like 30 gallons of the stuff to do a setup. But I went through like 5 iterations of that, and I have I'm finishing that series next week, or actually I'm going to Minnesota next week. Whatever, I'm finishing that series very soon because from engineeredfluids.com, I have this $20,000 setup, like a real pro setup that is all just pre-configured and everything's pre-measured, and it's got this 8 miner tank with this. It's like 200 gallons of BitCool or whatever that I'm going to be setting up. But before all that, I just was using flexible hose at first, which destroyed itself. I used a car radiator on my very first try for like getting rid of the heat. Yeah. And I was using this pump that was like 8 times the size that it needed to be because I didn't understand. I thought faster actually is better to run things faster, but using a ton of extra electricity and a lot of pressures are not good. And it makes it suck air into the system, and bubbles can cause problems with the adhesive that holds the chips on and all that. So iteration 1 was just to like learn how to put PVC together basically, and learn like the basics of heat extraction, which I kind of already understand, like just like how it works. Like you're still same amount of heat. It's just you get rid of it in a different way or whatever. And so I was still just pumping it into the warehouse. But then, God, I went through a different iteration where I brought it home to my shed in the backyard, and I actually hooked it up, and it had the circuit going through my pool, and I was using my pool to cool the radiator, in turn heating up my pool. And boy, was that working well, except that copper and chlorine don't go well together. Chlorine eats through copper. Jeez. And so luckily someone pointed that out in the comments of one of my videos, like that thing is going to destroy itself, and then it's going to introduce pool water directly into the miner, which was going to be bad. So thank you, random commenter, whoever you were that pointed that out. I never did. I was going to get a heat exchanger that's made for that, because apparently they make them for that, for who knows why. But for other heating, for like a pool heating system or whatever. So you can heat your pool with a Bitcoin miner effectively, and like
I've seen there's
really
another YouTube channel. There's another guy out there, I forget who it was, who had done that. Like he was heating,
and he had made it so hot that it was like steaming off of his pool.
Yeah, he was like bringing, like the water was coming out, and he was using like a fish tank style of like, and then like the radiator. It was crazy how he ended up doing it. He kind of had like a land, he had almost like a staging area between it. So you had like the pool, you had the actual heating area, and then you actually had the ASIC miners, and it was all completely separated. And it was nuts. It's like mad scientist stuff, but I love that stuff.
There's a million different ways you can do it. And you just have this magical fluid that you can just put electronics under the fluid, into the fluid, and it won't break the electronics. You just have to figure out how to cool the fluid off. Yeah. So that was cool. And that worked, but I turned that one off, and then I brought it into the warehouse, and I was trying a what do they call it? Whatever. I was going through the miner through a heat exchanger, and that heat exchanger had water and this huge tank on the other side of that. And so I was just heating up that water and then cooling that off with the radiator, just to like learn everything better than I knew it before. That was like pointless to run an extra loop on the other loop instead. But I was buying all these different size radiators. I must have wasted $5,000 with all these things, because pumps that can like handle the right amount of like that type of fluid and everything, they cost a bunch. Well, the fluid itself costs a lot. The pumps cost a lot. CPVC is pretty cheap, but when you just keep messing up over and over, you got to cut it all out and keep putting more in. And I did eventually I got a custom tank from Engineered Fluids. They let me have it to use it to show off their stuff. Love those guys, Engineered Fluids. You should, if you're looking for immersion cooling, although it's not a financially good decision at the moment, and it's winter time.
Yeah. It's a great idea. I mean, I'm eager to follow along with it. I mean, that's the thing. It's like a lot of people have brought up to me in the past, like, oh, why don't you do immersion cooling? It's like, well, you could go that route, except it's a big it's a big investment to get into it. You need the space to support it, and you need the knowledge behind it. It's not just like send it to me and I plug it in and I'm done. Like there actually is,
and it needs to be monitored really closely for like the first like month that it runs, because it can just run away from you pretty easily. There's so many things that have to be kept in check, but once it gets running, what a good system, although it's expensive. And then, then I found those big fans. I found that shroud. There's actually CryptoCloaks makes a shroud too. I don't want to just say JFruits is the only way to go, because he actually runs out of inventory on Amazon. But CryptoCloaks makes a cheaper one, or if you have a 3D printer, I think they just sell the file.
Oh, that's
which is cool. But that whole system, that AC Infinity fan is so strong and it's so quiet. It's like, it makes all those other things that were like wildly complicated kind of I'm not going to do them anymore.
And significantly cheaper. Yeah. I mean, as long as you have like the intake and exhaust, it works out really, really well. So we talked about
it makes it so you can use that air.
Yes. Yes. You can repurpose it in winter times and stuff like that, which is nice. So we talked about ASICs. We talked about GPUs. Is there any other crypto projects you're into? Any other types of mining that you're into outside of that?
There are so many other crypto projects that I'm out of because the whole world sucks.
Yep.
There was a thing called Strong. I'm not sure if you rode that train, but I got on.
I didn't ride it, but I saw you did.
Where it made me feel really confident, and I put a lot of money into that. I think I lost $35,000 playing around with that stupid system. Mm-hmm. Then I moved on to a thing called the Tavern, which did the same thing. Then I moved on to, I'm in Sphere, which I guess can still work. Hasn't died all the way, but the price has gone down to like 1/5 of where it was before. There's a thing called 100 Days, which did just announce that they're closing. I've everything that I picked was a loser. Like I saw other people, I guess yield nodes worked and Horde worked for like a whole year straight. But these all these DeFi projects have taken away all of my free Bitcoin money that I made.
Have you gone down the route of anything like Lo-Fi or Helium or any of that types of stuff?
Oh yeah, I've got some Helium miners. Actually,
there we go. Nice.
I'm not going to run around the room anymore, but I have like 3 in a box still that I haven't even put up. I have one on the side of my house, which I just checked all the numbers. Yep. And after a year, I have made $43 of Helium.
Oh man, I got
just because the price of Helium died. Yep. I just had to let it stack up, and then.
So next month it'll be 1 year since I've been doing Helium mining. So last November, and I got one of the what's the brand? The Mint MNTD miners, the gold one, and I got one of those, and I did a lot of tests in it, like my basement. Then I moved it up to a window, and then I actually moved it in my attic, and that was the home run. My attic at that height was really good, and then I ended up testing out a few different antennas. Like I did a 5.6 dB antenna, then an 8 dB antenna. So now I've had my 8 dB antenna just in the attic, mounted to the side of the wall in my attic against the side of my one wall. And I think I checked the other day, and I'm almost at 100 Helium that I've mined with that alone in 1 year. And so I've done well with it.
$2 now?
Yeah, it definitely was worth a lot more. But I just hold on. I'm just holding on to it. But the nice thing is there wasn't any in my area directly, like that were in my octagon and stuff like that. And then I'm in the process.
I only have one other person in my octagon, and I bought all these other ones because my parents only like a mile away, and the warehouse is like 2 miles away. Okay. So I was just going to put them all over the place. I just never got around to it, and then the price died, so I just haven't done it.
I have 2 other ones set up, and I just very like a set it, forget it. Like they just keep working. They're good. I put them on wireless smart plugs. So if ever I check it, like I check it maybe once every few months. If it's not up, I'll reboot it and it's good to go, which I rarely have to do. But I was just curious if you ever went down that route.
I got one of those things. And the good thing is they only use like 5 watts or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like literally nothing. It's just not affecting anything. And mine, I put mine on the outside of my house, just like under the overhang of my garage. And every once in a while, it'll do a beacon or whatever you call it. It'll hit something like 13 miles away.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which is hilarious.
Yep, crazy. So we've talked a lot about different hardware, stuff like that. Have you had any during the bear market or crypto winter now? I hate to ask, but I'll ask. Have you made any crypto hardware purchases because of how low prices are? Or are you like, no, I'm not doing anything?
No, I did not. And I even sold some of my GPUs. And so, I haven't bought anything. I pretty much, after each failed project brings me closer to becoming a Bitcoin maxi, where I'm adding like $4,000 a month to Bitcoin, just piling it up.
That's smart.
I think I just won't even touch it for like 5 or 10 years, and hopefully it's at $1 million, something crazy by then.
Take my cold wallet and lock it up. That's what you need to do. Lock it up. For and don't let me touch it.
Well, because for the first like 6 months, for the first like 8 months of mining, I was using all my Bitcoin income to like play with all these DeFi things. So I didn't have to lose my own money, but I lost all that money because I've mined over a full Bitcoin. Which at one point was worth $60,000, and that's about how much I've just given away to all these failed projects.
So would you consider crypto mining for you? Is it a hobby, an addiction, or a career? Where would you put that under for you?
I sure thought crypto mining was a career before the fall. Um, no, it's a side hustle. It's not a hobby because it pays significant. Like, because I have so many of those, even though they're barely making anything. What are they making in a day? I think I'm pulling in like $60 a day or something like that with everything.
Between all those,
which is fine. And if we consider this crypto winter and we consider that we're going to get into a crypto summer one day, that $60 a day equates to a few $100s a day.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No, all retroactive, which will be awesome. So I might as well be making a few $100s a day now because I'm not going to touch it anymore.
That's right. No more.
Because I still work a job. I'm still a lighting engineer for Space Design and Productions, making these art fairs all around the country. Actually fly 40 times a year. I'm platinum.
You know what?
1K. I'm United. I'm the highest status.
Every time I like talk to you, you're always like, "Oh, sorry, I'm traveling here. I'm sorry, I'm traveling here." I'm like, man.
Yeah. If you look at my last like 12 videos, I think I'm in probably 6 different places.
That's crazy. Good for you.
I was in Austin 2 days ago filming a video that did I tell you the story on Twitter? I'm not sure if I did or not, but Andy and I did a whole talk in front of the city skyline of Austin. It was beautiful. And my camera had shut off. We had 3 cameras going. It was a high production.
Yeah.
And the one with the mics connected to it had shut off. I don't know if it overheated or what. But after like 9 minutes, and we talked for an hour. And so that is all gone. It's only in our brains. But I flew out to Austin just to go do that.
You should start a YouTube vlog, like a travel vlog channel. With you traveling all the time. Okay. You should start like a travel vlog. I did start a second channel, and I actually uploaded my first video to my second channel tonight. Oh, very cool.
I was watching my stats, and 3 hours went by, and it didn't get any views yet. Oh, the pain of a brand new YouTube channel, because it looks really good, and it's good information, but there's nobody's going to look at it at first.
All right, so more recently, you did a video on the Dogecoin millionaire. Are you currently with some of your portfolio, are you bullish on Dogecoin? What's your thoughts on Dogecoin?
Not at all. That is a mistake. That guy's still holding that stuff.
I saw he posted the other day about it too.
And especially after I dug in for that video, my little expose. I'm going to do more of those, by the way. I really enjoyed that type of a video.
It was awesome.
And I think I'm just going to keep picking public figures and make those kind of videos. But after I looked into all of the particulars about Dogecoin, it adds 10,000 Dogecoin per minute or something like that.
Yeah, like generating
there's billions of new Dogecoins every year. So it has to not just like stay popular, it has to increase in popularity forever for the price to increase.
Yeah.
And there's not like Dogecoin developers who are going to change it to proof of stake or something. It's just, it's going to be like wildly inflationary forever. Like it's just
the supply is so high.
Get more expensive.
Yeah, the value,
like 5 years from now, there's going to be trillions of Dogecoin.
Yeah, it would be of value for that to be altered to less supply being generated, like taper that down in order to create more demand. Like that would create value if you lowered the supply.
But since that's just literally a shit coin that somebody just made in a night, I have a cryptocurrency that I just keep myself in a wallet because I wanted to see what it was like to make one and how hard it was. I paid a guy on Fiverr. I paid him $50 and he made it in like 20 minutes.
Wow.
Which means and that's the type of coin that Dogecoin is. It's just based off, I think it's a fork of Bitcoin or whatever.
Yep.
And it's like, there is nobody that's doing development on it. You can't change. Well, I don't know if the one guy that made it, maybe he can change the code on it. I have no idea.
I don't know.
It's not like but it's proof of work. So it's a consensus mechanism. And now there's too many millions of people that are like working on it. So they can't, I don't think they can do anything to it.
Yep. So
it wasn't. Go on.
No, so last few questions here. So you talked a lot about bad investments. You actually have a video on it. So if anybody wants to go over and check it out. But out of all those investments,
me lose money.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Have you had any that have catapulted you ahead of those investments?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Can you if you don't mind, can you give us one of them that it's like, this one has, out of all the bad investments that you went through, even tonight you talked about, which one of those was a good investment?
I had a couple of good stories because I was searching for, this wasn't a crypto thing. It was a stock market thing, but I was just like searching for what do I think is going to exist that doesn't exist yet. And then I came across LiDAR, which is just a sensor that's going to be put on cars, but they're not there yet. And they're like, all these companies are like fighting for position, and like everybody's contacting OEMs and trying to be like the LiDAR that gets put on Ford cars or whatever. And I looked at all the companies. I found this company called Microvision, and I bought a lot of it at like $1.80. And over the course of the next year, it went up to $30. And that was my first like wild like 20x thing.
Yeah.
And so that was a huge win. It's back down to like $3 now. And I've held most of it like the Dogecoin millionaire.
Did you cash it out, or did you held it all?
I didn't hold all of it, but I held enough of it that it's not that important of a thing anymore. But if you look back through my videos far enough, you'll find that I sold a house. I had a rental house, and I sold it to go all in on Microvision. So I put another house's worth of money onto that. So I now have lots and lots of Microvision shares. And so when that does happen, this choice is probably going to be made in like 2024.
Yeah.
Either the world will choose LiDAR, or the world will choose cameras like Elon Musk.
Yep.
And if it goes with LiDAR, poof, I am retired at the tender age of 44.
That'd be cool.
That's one of my big things. But the other one was actually Luna. After Luna died, I was actually in Texas on my site visit of the Musk Miners. Contact Blake at Musk Miners if you want to buy Bitcoin hardware. Tell Nicholas Johnson sent you. I was with those guys, and then Andy from your friend Andy YouTube channel and I were driving home and watching that thing happen where Luna went from what, $100 to $1 in like a day or whatever it was, and then it went to $0. Then it went to like 0.000003 cents. And I was like, well, what? And then I was watching because you can go on to, I think I was using KuCoin, and they had a live thing of the like price, and the price was like literally just the numbers were spinning like it was the Matrix.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever, I can just get in, and like it's going to go up and down and up and down. I'm just going to get back out at an up. And so I bought like a few $100 at like 0.000003. And I saw a whole zero go away, and it was like 0.0003.
Wow.
And I sold really quick, and I made like, it didn't make a lot. I made like $3,000, but I'd made $3,000
That's a win.
Like a minute, in like 60 cents, 60 seconds.
That's
so it was great. That was a huge win after $40,000 of losses that you can watch my loss porn video of. But no, there is no other than, because I started in crypto when it was pretty high, and I guess all of my portfolio has just shrunk ever since I started, even though all I'm doing is adding to it all the time.
Which is smart.
I have not had any big wins.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good avenue.
I started having a huge win with Strong. I got into Strong at like 700, and it went up to like 1100, and I did sell some off, but I did not sell it off fast enough, and I didn't sell enough of it. So no, actually, my big win is the crypto winter, when I'm just pouring all of my money into everything.
Hey, when it rebounds, you'll be happy you did. You know, that's the plan.
This is the only time when people get rich, is at the worst time. I don't know why everybody's freaking out and selling. Just spend all your money right now on crypto or on the stock market. Pick anything.
The only way it can go is up, the way I see it. So that's definitely a smart avenue. So two last things. Second to last question is, you have started or rekindled the Space Design Warehouse games. And this is, tell me a little bit about how you decided to organize this and do this. And for the audience that has no clue what this is, kind of explain this, because I think it's a really fun idea.
Yeah, well, so it was one of my favorite videos to make ever, and it was the worst performing video in the last 12 months.
Oh, that's
I flew three people down. I put 3 people in hotels. I spent $2,000 making that video. And I don't know why my audience did not care at all. It even had like a bad click-through rate, and it's a fun video. But anyway, so I have a warehouse, like I've mentioned a couple times, and my wife and I watch Big Brother. I don't know if that's embarrassing or not, but I like it. And Survivor, these two shows that have funny little competitions that look like the stuff is kind of homemade and like wooden and like little hand-eye coordination things or puzzle things. And so I invited you, but you were too busy to come.
I was tied up. I would love to go.
I ended up having James Pelton, Colin, the Decade Investor, and your friend Andy come on down to Orlando. And I made them shoot these giant slingshots at these piggy banks that released a box that came over, and they had to do this balance board thing with the ball that went down this thing to get in the hole, and that sent them on to where they had to have a computer build off. 2 of them had never built a computer before, unfortunately. Then they had to build a computer that would mine the very last Ethereum that I was ever going to mine, because I was just going to leave it running. And it was like 2 days before the merge.
Yep.
And so that all went off. I had a kidney stone the day before filming that was still affecting me the day of filming. So I don't know if you scrub through the footage close enough, you'll see me grimace once in a while when I'm running around. Because that's about the world's most painful thing to do. And that was awesome timing. I wasn't going to like scrap it because I literally flew 3 people that I was meeting for the first time.
Yep.
And then we're like all performing together. I had a little peanut gallery. I had actually Blake, my channel sponsor, came down with his wife, and then my wife. They were all sitting there cheering everybody on. I gave them microphones and speakers to like make it more lively. It was really fun, and it did really terrible. I'm going to keep doing them because that's actually, I mean, God, if that could be all my channel does, that would be awesome. Yep. Because I was making things and building things and having people come over.
Trust me, it was super entertaining, and I'm going to put links to a lot of the videos that we talked about down below as people follow along with this. Like, oh, I want to check it out, because it was really entertaining. It was like this homemade like game show style stuff, which was really cool. And I watched it not just because of the fact of like I was invited to it, but also because of the fact that like it was enjoyable to watch. Unfortunately, I think the YouTube algorithm just like doesn't know what to do with that video on your channel. Like, unfortunately,
it's so different from what I normally make. People don't see me sitting at my desk, and so like, what's happening here? And then a bunch of other people getting together, and like, I don't want to watch a Mr. Beast competition video. I want to watch
if you were to take a brand new, if you were to literally set up today, take a new YouTube channel, set it up, and then take those videos down over there and put them up over there, and give it time as you like made more of these over that, I guarantee you that would start to do better. Because it literally, YouTube would know what to do with it. And it's like, your channel is like this game host live channel dealio. It's like, okay, I know how to categorize you, and I know the audience that's going to watch these, and I'm going to present them. But yeah, the YouTube algorithm, unfortunately, is so picky, where it like identifies your channel right away as like, this is what your channel is. And so these are the audience that I'm going to present to your channel. So,
so like you said at the beginning, my channel used to be like a variety show where I would just make all sorts of things. I did hydro, what do you call that when you grow plants in the water? I was doing that stuff. And hydroponics. I built the whole system for that. I was, whatever. I have all these other things that I enjoy doing in my warehouse because it's crazy. So I have just started a new channel, and it's just going to be everything else. So this channel is going to stay crypto, waiting for the next bull run, because probably yours, the same as mine, our views like match the Bitcoin chart basically.
Unfortunately, the interest in new miners has gone away. It's very minimal right now. Whereas like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when I started the channel, everybody was a new miner. Like a majority of people were new miners. So everybody was just hungry for new content and new education and all of that. Oh yeah.
Well, that's going to happen again. It's if things swing back up, and I believe they will, that's all going to start again. All the people that hadn't thought about it the last time are going to start thinking about it this time.
So we're going to wrap things up. Last question here. If someone approaches you today and says, is it worth it to get into crypto mining today, October 28th, what would you say? Crypto mining.
GPU mining, no.
Okay.
And I know you have a pretty large farm, but unless you live in some wacky place, in some cartoon wonderland where you have 5 cents per kilowatt hour, which nobody does, I don't think this might be controversial, especially on your channel, but I don't think GPU mining is coming back. I think that void won't be filled, unfortunately. Ethereum was so big, and it had so much put towards it, that so many people would need to stop to make it profitable for the next thing, for Ravencoin or for whatever other thing you want to mine. I don't think that GPU mining, I don't think it's worth it now, at least at the national average for most people, especially since you got to deal with that heat. In the summertime or in the wintertime, it's pretty great probably to have like 1 or 2 GPUs just running in your office where you can have it nice and toasty warm. But a farm, like actually being serious about it and putting real money into it, I definitely don't think it's worth like getting into it now, because that means you have to spend thousands of dollars on equipment. I guess you can buy last generation stuff, but those make even less money. So it's like you have to pay so much money to start. I think the break even time right now on a fancy 3080 is like 6 years for the, the current like rewards you get. Same for an S19 though. Like for Bitcoin miner, the break even period is 900 days or something like that, because the price needs to come back before it's worth doing. hosting helps with that, because with hosting you can get cheaper electricity.
Yeah.
But even then, the hosted ones are only making $6 a day or something, and the machines are still $2,000 to $2,500, $3,000. I don't even know. I haven't looked at a price chart in a long time.
Yep.
In the thousands of dollars. So, well, there's a few things. If you like being clever and you want to heat your house with it, that does make that, like, adds a whole income onto it, basically, because you get to shut off your furnace. Yeah. And that makes more money by saving money.
It helps to offset it. Yeah.
If you're sneaky and you want to hide your Bitcoins, everything you mine is non-KYC. So technically no one knows you have it. So technically no one would know if you didn't add it on your taxes. Not financial advice.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Legally.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But mined cryptocurrency doesn't show up anywhere. So a lot of people love non-KYC. I actually have people offering to buy my mined Bitcoins from me because they're non-KYC. If you buy them from exchange, you have to say who you are or whatever.
Yep.
And so those two reasons, if those are two of your reasons, then it's something you can get into. But I currently don't. Well, God, the price of the hardware is only going to fly if Bitcoin goes back up soon.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if it stays down for like another 2 years, then a whole new generation of hardware is going to come out, and your old stuff that you buy, like
Yep. It's a huge gamble. I've actually heard some.
Then will be.
Yeah. I've heard some people that are actually putting their investments into assets, like right now, with the same mentality of like, not even mining it, just buying the assets, so that what if things go up, it's like, great, here's my S19J Pro, I'm now selling it for $6,000. I bought it for $2,500 a year ago. I haven't even mined with it.
I did talk about that in a fairly recent video.
Yeah.
Hardware arbitrage is the term for it.
Yep.
You can buy an S19 right now, mine with it. It'll feel like you're just mining for break even. You're mining for zero, basically, the cost of electricity, but you are adding Bitcoins to your account. And then once Bitcoin price does go up, you can sell that same miner for $10,000 maybe, even though you bought it for $2,500. And you get to keep all the Bitcoins that you mined in the meantime.
Yeah.
So in that way, and it's all KYC'd, which is something people really like.
Yep.
So that makes it feel worth it still to get into mining.
But that would be on the ASIC side.
I have a hard time with it, because when you do the math, on the ASIC side. Oh, you're talking about GPUs. No,
well, just regardless, regardless, either way. Yeah, I could agree with you. I mean, I think the GPU mining, we're really going to have to see where things go. Like, some breakout event is going to have to occur on the GPU mining side. I think the ASIC side and the Bitcoin investment side, I think, like, anybody I talk to, even people in mining or not in mining or anything like that, even just traditional investors, they're aware of Bitcoin. And so and I asked them the question, do you think Bitcoin will go up in the next 5 years? No, everybody I talk to says yes. Nobody's like, it's good. No, nobody's like, no, it's going to go down even more. So it makes it an easy investment. It's just, which direction do you go, as you had talked about, with a lot of really good examples on, the practicality. I think that's the thing of just thinking through the practicality, where it's like,
the math is super complicated if you try to, like, figure out if you're going to make more by mining or make more by just buying Bitcoin. Because if you just keep dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, you don't worry about difficulty. But the difficulty graph is going up, even though the price has stayed stagnant for 5 months now. The difficulty graph has almost doubled in that time, which means you're making half as much. And if that trend continues, then it is better just to buy it. And I don't want to say that because I make literally, like, most of my money on my channel for people buying hardware through my sponsor.
Yep, 100%. Well, guys,
but you can't. The difficulty can't go up forever. Otherwise, no one can mine. No one would. If nobody makes profit, everybody stops, and so the difficulty will stop going up. But you can't know when it's going to, so you can't actually do the math. Doing the math on profitability is a fallacy. Can't do it. And so you're almost just gambling. I don't know. Maybe it's better to mine. Maybe it's better to buy. But if the heat thing or the non-KYC thing tips your scales, then mine away.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a gamble, and nobody predict when or how profitable it'll be. So I think you definitely have a great answer there. But we are at an hour-long video here, which is awesome. It flies by, bam, which is fine. Absolutely. That's why I love these style videos. So guys, I'm going to leave links to all of his content that we talked about today down below in the video, in the description. Please go over to his channel. Please go over and subscribe to it. Check out some of these cool projects. I know a lot of my audience is into DIY, and his channel is definitely a good avenue to go. If you want to buy the 3080, hit him up. He's got it right there. He's like, I'm selling it. Let's go. But other than that, guys, that's going to wrap things up today. Thank you very much, Space Design Warehouse, for joining me. This has been fun. It's been an absolute blast. Hopefully not our last collaboration between our channels. And guys, from myself and him, I appreciate you guys joining us today. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Octominer and 9 other YouTubers are going to be giving away 10 prizes to 10 lucky winners. Each YouTuber has their own custom design that has been created and will be available for sale starting on November 1st. There will only be 50 shirts of each design available to buy. Each t-shirt purchase will be worth 50 entries without any limit on the number of shirts you can buy. You don't want to purchase a shirt? No problem. We got you covered. There are free ways to enter just by clicking the Gleam URL link down below in the description. We will also be giving away a portion of the proceeds to the Water Project Incorporated, a 501c3 nonprofit organization unlocking human potential by providing reliable water projects to communities in sub-Saharan Africa who suffer needlessly from a lack of access to clean water and proper sanitation. The Community Crypto Tuber 500 giveaway will run from November 1st to November 29th. Those will be the available dates to enter. We will be having a live stream on YouTube to select the winners randomly using Gleam on Wednesday, November 30th. Good luck!